Hey, everybody, welcome to the Get Off My Lawn podcast. My name is John. I will be your host tonight. Like I always say, it's my show, so I get to host it. We're going to have some fun tonight. And you know what? Before we get too far into anything, we're just going to go ahead and put everybody up on the screen here. So you get to see some other smiling faces. We gave the usual suspects the night off. So those that are normally on the screen with me, hopefully will hold it down out there in the chat. You guys can still heckle us. You just can't heckle us on screen out there. But if you are watching live, please get those comments in. We want to see those. If you have questions for Rick or Amanda, then let us know what those are as well. And as long as they pertain to the topic at hand or whatever the conversation has moved to, we can get those up on the screen. Of course, just like always, we want to there, we'll put that up on the screen too. We want to make sure that everybody is subscribing to the channel or following on Facebook. Please, the biggest thing I can ask for help right now is just mash that share button, everybody, and help us grow. And if you have to get a hold of us and it's too late to leave a comment or you want a response, not just a comment on the video, which you can do even after the fact, you can always email us, sandhillsmediaempire@gmail.com. And it's not being cocky or prideful if it's true. So we're building an empire. Also, again, I keep putting this up. I'm going to just let that run underneath everybody all night. We want to go live on Rumble. We're Facebook and YouTube right now. And I want to be able to go live on Rumble, but I can't do live things on Rumble until I get to at least 25 subs. So we need some help over there. If you're on Rumble, please go find Sandhills Media and subscribe. And then it is just rumble.com/user/Sandhills Media to get to us over there. Also, we're part of the Self-Defense Radio Network, and that's a really cool place where you can go find all kinds of cool podcasts about guns and freedom and just all kinds of neat stuff that patriotic people care about. You can see some cool shows like the Polite Society podcast and Eye on the Target Radio over there, and you get all of the Amanda Suffecool you can handle every week, right, from those. And there's all kinds of good stuff over there. So go check out Self-Defense Radio Network, sdrn.us. And of course, tonight's show is brought to you by Sandhills Defense, Northeast Nebraska's, one of the newest firearms instruction companies, which is mine. So it's nice now to be able to actually not have to go ask for other sponsorships to come to the show. And I don't feel quite so bad if I mouth off. I'm not reflecting on anybody but myself. And one last thing, the views and opinions expressed on this podcast belong to the individual expressing them, do not reflect any the views of any of our sponsors or the other panelists. And we're not offering any legal or medical advice, which we probably won't get into much here. But, hold on.
Yeah, I was wondering if you were going to introduce the dog.
Well, she's kind of busy right now. Her name is Liberty, and couldn't think of a better thing to name the puppy dog when we got her a couple years ago. So thought, yeah, that'll work. Her middle name is Bell with an E, Liberty Bell. So, all right. And you can't see her because she never wants to be on the camera, but my beautiful bride is in the producer's chair over there, holding it down out there in the chat. So you know how this works, guys. She does the typing while I do the talking because I can't multitask. So I can either handle the comments or I can talk. I can't do both at once. So who's out there tonight so far? We've got G-Webs out there, 10X Shooters, my beautiful bride, Sandhills Sweetheart. Jeff Moeller's out there. I don't see any Facebook comments yet. If you're watching on Facebook, get those comments rolling. We want to see that you are there because it says that at least one of you out there is watching from Facebook. So, all right. So we're just going to kind of jump into this. And we've got two guests with us. First of all, we will introduce the lady who is on the bottom of the screen. Amanda Suffecool is running for a position for NRA Board of Directors. Amanda, how are you?
Hi, I am well.
Good. That got a little robot-y just there. I'm not sure. Hopefully it clears up.
Maybe it will, and maybe, I don't know. I'm having a day.
It's got a buzz. We already had to swap out the computer and the regular headset for a phone So I'm not sure what's up. We will do our best here. Also running for a position on the NRA board, up on the top right corner of the screen, we've got Rick Ector with us. How are you, sir?
I am doing great, man. Glad to be here. Glad to meet you. And of course, glad to always see Amanda. How you doing, Amanda?
Okay. I'm doing good. So I'm in Florida. So what could be bad about that?
That's awesome.
Yeah. Well, you know what? It's not bad here. Here we're getting temperatures in the 40s, 50s. So for February, we're doing pretty darn good here in Detroit.
Take it. So how's my volume, or is it really screwed up?
No, it's good.
I'm
just trying to find out. I'm hearing a little buzz from both of you now. Are you guys out there? If it's just me, that's fine. If it's going out in the feed to everybody, let me know out there in the comments, everybody, if you would. Because I don't know what's going on, but hopefully we do okay here. Anyway, we're going to keep pushing on because we want to get the word out about these two crazy kids who are running for a spot on the board of directors. So I want each of you to get a chance to just explain why it's important to you to be voted in for board of directors for NRA. And then after that, we're going to talk a little bit about why it's important that we still have people that want to run to be part of that board. So again, we'll be chivalrous. Amanda, we'll let you lead off. Why did you decide you wanted to take a spot on that board?
Well, it's been on my list for quite a while. You know, the NRA has existed for more than 150 years, and I am from a family that has a long time history with the NRA. My grandfather was a life member. My mother was a life member. You know, so and I too am and have been for a while. So as I retired from my day job of engineering, it's like, well, you know, the NRA needs to make it another 150 years, and they can only do that with driven, motivated people who help kind of guide it. And right now with the New York lawsuits and the like, it's going through a rough patch. And so as it comes out of that, it's going to need people who understand business and understand P&Ls and understand growth and understand employee retention and employee replacement. So I think that those are skills that I bring and that are going to be very needed for the NRA as we go forward.
Oh, very important. So, all right, Rick, why did you make the decision that you wanted to be part of the NRA board?
You know what? I did not go into this whole proposition with this being a goal. It's kind of like Alice in Wonderland, man. You know, you just minding your business, and next thing you know, you fall down a rabbit hole, and you just kind of see where this whole thing takes you, where it goes. You know, I have at least I think it's interesting. My background is that approximately almost 20 years ago, man, Michigan went shall issue from being discretionary as it relates to issuance of concealed pistol licenses. And I wasn't really into gun culture, you know, really. You know, basically I got the speech from my elders. It's like, hey, you're married, you're a parent, you're now a homeowner, you know, go get a 12 gauge shotgun and defend your home. And I wasn't really big on you know, guns and all of that, man. But you know, lo and behold, it was like maybe only a few short years after that, I got robbed in my driveway after coming home from work. And it literally opened my eyes to a lot of things that were going on, you know, not only in my community here in Detroit, but across the state and across the country. You know, I used to hear people talking about this Second Amendment and the right to keep and bear arms and why it was so important. It wasn't even on my radar. And Michigan, of course, was shall issue. And I was seeking all sorts of information about gun ownership, you know, carrying a pistol and getting a license and what that meant and how to do it. and there was such an overabundance of bad information that was out there. It was like information coming from my community and the local government. It was all set up to discourage me. I even went down to the local police station because, of course, here in Michigan, we still have handgun registration. That's a long story in of itself. If you're interested about the history of gun control in Detroit and the state of Michigan proper, I can definitely give you a lecture on it. But I was asking the police officers at the station, I said, well, what do I need to do to get a concealed pistol license? And they basically stopped doing what they were doing, and their whole attitude changed. And they really just scoffed at me, man, and told me it was a bad thing to do. And I was just going to make our community worse. And, just chalk up that robbery to it just being a bad situation and just move on. But I followed that rabbit hole, man. I went and got my concealed pistol license anyway. I got turned on to gun rights activism. I started following this guy. I went to a web browser and I was thinking of myself when I typed in these words. I put in quotes this following phrase. I put in black man with a gun, right? And lo and behold, I find Ken Blanchard on the internet, man. And so I started devouring all of his stuff. And then I started following his podcast. I met up with him at the Gun Rights Policy Conference that year. And that's when I really got the bug for activism and wanting to spread, this whole idea of the right to keep and bear arms, the Second Amendment, and personal protection. Of course, I was already an instructor. I witnessed the story on my local newscast about a woman's body being found in the street after she had been raped, assaulted, and killed. So what did I do? I just started talking with local friends about how could we make a difference. And we decided that what we were going to do was have a free shooting event for women. They just had to show up, man. They just had to just bring a positive attitude. We'd have the gun range. We'd have earplugs, shooting glasses, guns, ammo. And I thought I was going to train 1,000 women, right? That would take 10 years. But, that first iteration, it was only 50. But we got it done. And lo and behold, 12 years later, I've trained almost 1,000 women with just free shooting lessons, at this event that we do, man. And I feel like making a difference. And I was approached and asked to be on the outreach committee with the NRA. And I've done that. This is my 4th year. And then, just meeting and making contacts. I had no idea that I would be approached to submit my information to be on the NRA Board of Directors. But I felt it was an honor. I felt that I could share some of the things that I've learned in my travel and in my journey. And if I can help other people empower themselves, particularly women and other minorities across the country, I'm willing to do my part. Of course, we have a lot of things that as an organization that we have to face, but I'm willing to get in, pull up my sleeves, and go to work.
Very cool. Yeah, for those of you that don't know, Rick's got it's grown to be quite a huge event now. This last year, how many ladies came through your training event?
Last year, I mean, we made 1,300, but it's steady growth. The 1 year 2020 was just an aberration in so many facets of our lives, man.
Yeah.
The whole city, the whole metro area was shut down, and we were told to stay in the house, and wear all sorts of PPE, personal protection equipment. And I gave people something to do on that one day. I gave them a place to go, shoot guns, and learn about, a little bit about personal protection and self-defense. And over 1,200 women showed up. It was officially a thing. And then the year after that, I was thinking, hey, we did 2,000. Let's do 4,000. Nope, we went back to our model of steady growth. And we're looking to hit 1,500 this year.
Yeah. Well,
unless of course something else happens. I don't know what else could get us. Monkeypox.
Don't
what
ask.
else is out there?
Do not jinx us.
Don't even ask.
Oh wait.
We'll
we have these these balloons that no one seems to know anything about.
The alien balloons.
Yeah,
I'm
now.
just waiting for some genetically engineered super virus like herpaganosyphilades or something like that that starts sweeping through people that, you know, that's airborne or something. I don't know. Anyway, we'll digress. No, I wish that we could have made it out there to Detroit this year. As an instructor, I really
What you doing this year?
dude, we got to see.
You're a firearms instructor. Hey, all hands on deck. Let me tell you,
man,
in the aftermath of doing this event, there's so many things that you can get out of it. One, you're actually doing a great thing, right? And you get like that warm and fuzzy feeling. You ever had that warm and fuzzy feeling?
Yeah.
And you ever have someone come up to you and say thank you, and tears are coming out of their eyes? They're like, I didn't think that I could do this, and you helped me. Thank you, thank you, thank you. You know, you get to meet your counterparts from all over the country. I've been fortunate and blessed with fellow trainers such as Amanda, you know, and Rob come up to Michigan and help out. You know, Michigan, you know, Ohio is like right next door. You know, we put aside that Michigan Ohio thing, right? You know, Michigan and Ohio actually went to war. You know,
that sports thing, yeah. Sports.
We gave them the city of Toledo, and they gave us the whole Upper Peninsula compensation. Best deal ever made.
Right? No, you don't have to convince me to want to be out there, man. It's strictly just a logistical opposite, you know, problem. So we'll see if we can get those worked out or not.
Yeah, get the date and schedule it, because it is very much well worth your time.
It's definitely on the to-do list. But if I don't see you out there in Detroit, hopefully you'll go to GRPC. We are planning on making it to that this year. So that might be the one thing I get to go to nationwide this year. Anyway, let's go back to you guys now. I want to know exactly I guess I've got questions, and some of these are questions that are mine. Some of these are questions that I've heard asked just kind of generally across the interwebs. But you know, as one of you mentioned now, I mean, the NRA kind of has some problems. I think both of you had mentioned that or alluded to that. So what I really would like to just get your take on a couple different things. And first and foremost, you know, it's been said that the board of directors has basically been neutered and doesn't have a whole lot of real power. And, you know, most of the problems could be fixed if that changed. But what do you guys, if somebody says that to you or asks you about that, what do you tell them, Amanda?
Well, I think that one of the things I want people to really think about is that the NRA is the largest organization out there that in this thing where, because when you say you're running, the things you hear back are pretty amazing and pretty diverse and pretty all over the place. Sure. But so people are making disparaging remarks about the NRA. They're making disparaging remarks about, you know, about certain individuals within it, about the lawsuits, you know, all kinds of stuff. So a couple of things I want you to think about is the fact that the Brady campaign and Mom's Demand and all of those have been for quite a while using their resources to try to take down the NRA. And so some of them are the legal resources. The other ones are PR resources. So right now there's a lot of PR that's going into why do we need the NRA and all of that. And then remember that the NRA had, I kind of call it a divorce. They had a marketing and PR firm that they'd been using for 40 years and they're no longer using. And as New York decided to sue the NRA, the NRA was looking for information that only the PR firm had. And as they asked for it, the PR firm said no. And so you've got to think of what's happening with that, almost as if the NRA and the PR firm were a couple that's getting a divorce and they're fighting for custody of the children, and we're the children. So every one of the voting members is part of the family that they want to sway to their direction, whichever direction that is. And so a lot of these questions are things that I can't say, oh yeah, I'm going to do this, or oh yeah, I'm going to do that, because I don't believe I don't believe a lot of them are 100% based in fact. There's so much PR spin on everything that I wanted to see the data. I want to see the true information. And what I can say is that I'll make decisions based on facts and information and data, and not on PR, and not on somebody just saying, what are you going to do about this? And what are you going to do about that? Because I think that there's a lot of moving pieces to this. So I know that makes some people mad because they want a commitment. The other part I'm going to tell you is that if anybody runs for the board and the first thing that they do is say, I'm going to do this, or I'm going to chop that person out of the organization, they're not going to get a chance to, because then the rest of the board is going to close rank. You'll not get a committee assignment. You'll not get a seat at the table. You'll not get to interact and talk and even get to the data to make informed decisions. You will be there, but you won't. And if you want to know how I know that, ask Frank Tate how it's been since the first of the year until his assignment on the board is over. And it's been extremely difficult for him. It's extremely difficult for me watching how somebody, when the rest of the herd has singled them out to ignore them, how that is. I mean, because empathetically, I have a hard time with that. We're all in this together. We're all headed in the same direction. And for somebody who says that, I'm going to put it out there that, there are people who say that Wayne LaPierre and they say all kinds of bad things. This is a guy who's led the organization for a very long time. And all of a sudden it flipped. I want to know the what's and the where's and the whys. That's what I want to know. Let me toss it to Rick.
You covered a lot of ground, and you know what? I want to phrase a response that doesn't echo and merely, repeat everything that you said. I will say this, that I felt privileged and honored to serve on a committee. And as by doing that with the outreach committee, one of the things that I've been able to do is to sit in on a lot of the other committees and what they were doing. And it gave me a better, fuller appreciation of all the many things that the organization does. And in doing that, it's a very collegial atmosphere, at least from my vantage point, that I get to make connections and speak with people. A lot of times when you're in a lot of different organizations, whether it's an organization such as the NRA or whether it's out in corporate, back in my former life as a engineer with what used to be known as Chrysler Corporation, a lot of it is figuring out who you are, where you are, and what your role is, getting along with people within the organization, figuring out what you can do, what you can't do. And then once you get your feet up under you, then you can plot a course as to how you can best act in the best interest of the organization. There's a lot of things that I don't know because I'm not on the board and because I haven't been part of a lot of privileged conversations and had a lot of background in terms of the who, what, where, when, why, and all of that. But what I can say is that when I am elected to the board, I will dutifully exercise my involvement in the organization. And I personally will keep the membership first and foremost in my mind, and that I will look to learn how the board actually operates. I will get to know more of my fellow board members and what it is that we need to do collectively to move forward. There are a lot of things that are going on that I'm not privy to. And, the thing that I hate, I hate when people ask me a question and they want a very specific answer. But, to be honest, at this point in time, I don't have, any information to really share.
Mhm.
All I can tell you is that I'm going into this whole proposition with my eyes wide open, and I'm ready to learn, and I'm ready to work for the best interests of the organization. I'm looking to work with my fellow members who are on the board. I've met quite a few, but there's quite a few more that I do not know. But I'm looking to make a huge contribution to the organization and for the members at large of the organization. As I was campaigning, I didn't know how to campaign to be on the board of directors. There's no manual. If there is, everyone's hiding it from me. And, I don't have it, right?
Mhm.
And so all I could basically do was leverage some of the relationships I've had, particularly in the gun community, many relationships outside of the gun community that I may have with various people. That's not going to do me, a bit of good with campaigning to be on the board of directors of the NRA.
Right.
And I tried to do it to my best ability at all levels, at the national level, various different organizations across, the country. Give a shout out to my friends over at Florida Carry. Those guys, they always have a lot going on down there. I was kicking myself that I wasn't able to make their annual camping trip. That's where people go camp in the state of Florida in either February or March, and we all pretend like it's not cold in Florida, even though the sun is shining. But I want to keep doing that, and I want to keep building alliances with other gun rights organizations and other people in the organization. I want to work within the organization proper, but man, in terms of how the board actually works and operates, I'll be completely honest. My job when I win and when I'm installed as a board member is that I will have a lot of ground to make up, and I will do it to the best of my ability to act in the best interests of the organization.
And that's, I think, the most anybody could ever ask of you as a board member or anybody else on the board. I like that. So I had it's been a couple years ago now. We had an episode of this show where I know it was back when Trump was still president, but I had even said, at the time the NRA, despite all of the disparaging comments or feelings, I guess, animosity towards the organization, I even had said at the time, they may not be the hero we deserve, but they're the hero we need, the NRA and Trump both at the time. And I still think that's true because, Amanda, you hit it on the head. Mom's Demand or any of those other groups, they always name the NRA. I have yet to hear any of those groups when they've got a microphone and a TV camera trained on them mention Gun Owners of America or Firearms Policy Coalition, Second Amendment Foundation, any of the other big nationwide groups. They're just not very well known. And it just, when I talk to, John Q. Public, most of them aren't aware that there are other nationwide groups out there either. Everybody knows the NRA. And so the NRA is big enough to, I call them a punching bag. They can absorb those blows, and they're not going anywhere. But we need them because as long as Mom's Demand Action in every town and all of Giffords, as long as they're focusing on the big boogeyman NRA, that kind of takes a lot of heat off those other organizations to essentially work behind the scenes in the courts, right? So I'm not saying that NRA doesn't help. I know that NRA ILA is very active across the country. Our regional rep here comes out of Kansas City, and I mean Kelvin's a great guy. We love the heck out of him up here. It's nice since Kelvin came along. It's nice to actually see the NRA come up to Lincoln when we have gun bills that are heard in committee, or even when they make it out to an actual debate to the full Senate here. Kelvin shows up, and it's awesome now that we have representation, because there used to be a rep that from what I was told, had an office not too far down the road from the Capitol building there in Lincoln, who never showed up. Now I think they contracted; they weren't actually employed by NRA ILA, but at the same time, I mean, they're getting a lot of stuff done. People don't know what all happens there either. I agree that there's a lot of stuff that people aren't aware of that happens. There's a lot of behind the scenes stuff that happens in every organization, but again, the NRA is big enough to be that punching bag. So they may not be the hero we deserve right now, but they're still the hero that we need, because again, they're the ones that get picked on, right? They've got the lawsuits against them.
Can I address that a little bit? Because
Yes.
I think there's a couple things. One is I've been endorsed by both Eric Pratt from Gun Owners of America and by Alan Gottlieb from Second Amendment Foundation, because they too see that there is a need for all of these organizations and for us to work together, headed in the same direction. The NRA was involved in Bruin, in the New York State Rifle and Pistol Association versus Bruin, and all of the amazing things that have happened with it. And when you talk about the size of the NRA compared to the other organizations, the NRA fundraises and brings in and then disseminates and sends back out about $350 million a year. That makes them at the smallest 10 times bigger than the next largest organization. That's the Second Amendment organization. The fact that the NRA has been there for 150 years makes them the longest running. And so those two things, so size and longevity, both of them put them in the catbird seat in playing. And if they take the hit, that allows the state organizations the cover to be able to do some of the more nimble-footed things that they need to do. And at the same time, the NRA is in some cases, many cases, the NRA, SAF are funding those nimble things to happen. And so you'll see, when you see who's on an amicus brief or who's on the bill to begin with, who's gathering people that have standing, the NRA is right in there. And you nailed it when you talked about your rep. The NRA really is only as good as the people who are out there standing for it, talking about it. And right now, while it's under fire, there's so many who have just stopped talking about them. And that allows the red shirts to win. Yeah. And we can't have that.
Nope, absolutely. They every time gun bills come through, even Lincoln out here in Nebraska, and for those of you that didn't know, there is a state called Nebraska right in the middle of the nation, and not a lot of folks know that we're here. We kind of like it that way. But
hey, did that balloon fly over Nebraska, or did it miss you guys?
Part of it, yeah, part of Nebraska, I believe, did get some balloon fly over there. We've got some missile silos and things like that in certain parts of the state, and of course, Strategic Air Command is located there in Omaha. So I don't know if Omaha got a flyover from the balloon or not, but yeah, there's all those western states, that path of that balloon, you can't tell me that was drifting on the wind currents. There's a lot of missile silos out across South Dakota, Wyoming, Montana, those areas. There's some intel to be gathered out there. I'm sure that apparently the satellites, I don't know. I thought that China had spy satellites. I don't know why they had to resort to a balloon, but whatever worked, it sure got some attention. So if nothing else, it's an attention getter. So now I had some other questions, and now I've completely forgotten what they were. So we might not have a super long episode, but that's okay. Oh, I know what one of the questions I wanted to ask is how many positions are coming up on the board, or is it something that the whole board has to get reelected every so often? How does that work on there?
I know the answer to that one. Let me take this one. I know the answer. There are 75 seats that have 3-year terms. Okay. And 1/3 of them are up every year. Now, there is also a 76th member who is elected at the annual meeting. 76.
Okay. So there are 25 seats available right now. So you're not running against each other. You're running side by side.
No,
for
I
two
mean,
of
it's
those.
like the top 25 vote getters.
Right.
So
So
we're only running
Amanda,
against
you're a
each
math
other.
guru. What is that called? What
We're
is
only
that called?
running-
The top, what is it?
I don't know, but we're only running against each other if one of us is 25 and one of us is 26.
That's right.
Then we're running against each other. But otherwise, no, it's, and so it is, what is it, ranked choice? Is that what that's called? To try to get them up there. What happens is that, we believe that both Rick and I are out, or I believe that both Rick and I are out there in the public a lot. We're talking to people, we're interacting with people, we're doing good things that people can see. I mean, between Rick's ladies shooting event that has such a creative name that everybody will remember it forever. And then, my involvement in both Eye on the Target Radio, the DC Project, the Conceal Carry fashion shows, it's stuff that people know and remember. So I think that we both have a really good chance of being on the board, a really good chance. So the second thing is really, where do we fall in the election process? Because I believe that committee assignments and who gets kind of dibs on the committees, then that has to do with how many votes they get. Oh, the thing that we do want to share is the fact that the ballots go out to lifetime members and annual members who are 5 years or more continuous membership. And they were in your February magazine. So you need to go dig out that February magazine. And the deadline is March 26th, that it has to be in the NRA's hands. Rick, what do you want to add to that? What did I miss?
You much nailed all the procedural things that people need to keep in mind when they vote. In talking to various different people, how they vote, some people vote for everybody. Some people only vote for the names that they know or the people they met. Some people only vote for one person, or, I haven't yet heard of, I mean, there's as many ways to vote as there are people. And however you vote, the fact is that as a voting eligible member, that you have a say in who is representing the organization. And in that sense, it's very important. In terms of what committee assignments, let's say hypothetically, I might be on, personally, at this point, it doesn't even matter to me because I consider it an honor to be elected a director.
All right, I've got a couple more questions here. First off, G Webs is out there watching, and I've been putting some of his comments up on the screen, and I haven't been reading them. So if you're catching this later on the audio only version, you really owe it to yourself to go find us on YouTube or Facebook, or it'll be on Rumble. It'll be on Spotify as well. You can watch the video so you can see those. But G wants to know what has been the most often asked question you get as you run for the board. So Amanda, you lead off.
They want to know, how do they stop the dunning phone calls to ask for more and more money and donations to the NRA? That would probably be first and foremost the question that I've got. And I'm like, join as a life member and then tell them to stop communicating with you. And it seems to work.
Okay.
But
Rick, what question do you get the most?
I don't know if I've gotten one consistently solid, consistent question. To be honest, man, it's like, I've been following you for years. Glad that you're running. You're going to get it. It's a shoe in. And I'm like, okay, if you feel that way. You obviously have never campaigned and run. I mean, just thinking about this whole process of campaigning, right? I mean, it's not like you have a budget, you have a staff. I mean, it's like, go out there and get votes, right? And it's like,
Yeah, and you need
Okay, how do I do that? And so
50,000 votes across the country of people you don't even know who they are.
Hey, now you guys are in luck. Now that you're on this show.
To that end, I am especially appreciative of being on programs and podcasts and shows such as this, to have an opportunity to familiarize myself with people who will come across it. Everyone that is either watching now or they'll get a notification that you just published another episode. Google will probably grab it and throw it all over, cyberspace, and people will see it, and hopefully it'll at least get the word out so that voters can at least match a person or the vibe or the feeling that they got when they actually heard either he or she speak when they were on the program.
It's not just a name on a magazine page somewhere. Nope, that makes perfect sense. And I was going to say too that not to brag, but we're kind of a big deal here. Every week this show goes out to tens of people. So, but you know what? If I can get each one of you one more vote, then I will. I'll be happy. So that leads into my question. Because
wait. Make sure you tell everyone to push the like button. Isn't that what all the podcasters do? They say push the like button,
share, comment, and subscribe. Those are the 4 things you got to do. And then if you're on YouTube, after you subscribe, then you got to click that little bell icon and tell it to give you all the notifications, so that you get notified every time we put one of these up here, or every time I decide. I'm dabbling with cutting the little short videos now and putting those up. So okay, so my question, and let me just kind of preface this, due to all of the flurry of stuff that's buzzing around the interwebs, and yes, some of it's not true, some of it probably is a little bit true, and I don't know how to discern what's what. So I just have not been a member for several years now. And so I want each of you to give me your most compelling reason why I should become a member. I will save money on my local range dues as a member, but I've been even balking at that, because if I'm going to spend more money, it's pay the NRA membership or pay the range about that same amount extra in dues. So, the money stays local that way. So I want to know your most compelling argument or encouragement, I should say, for me and Sandhills Sweetheart. Why should we become NRA members? And Rick will let you lead off this one.
Let me just jump and take that one first. Anyway, for me, and I gave a little bit of my bio when I opened up, the appearance today. For me, it's just knowing that there is a gun rights organization out there that's fighting for our right to keep and bear a firearm. And when I look at my own individual story, I was ambivalent to guns, man. I had a 12-gauge shotgun in case, here in this part of the country in Detroit, man, a complete stranger might actually kick in your door to molest your property. That's just something that could really happen here. That I had a gun, and that there's an organization that's out there fighting for me to keep that gun, even though I had no desire at that moment to cherish it, and to let alone to advocate for it, and to ask my other fellow citizens to do it. But the whole point is that it was there when I was ready for it. And one of the consequences of elections, not a few months ago, we took a beating. When I say we, the pro-gun folks, we took a beating here in the state of Michigan, and every branch of government, every branch of state government is controlled by the anti-gun party. And we're going to have our hands full fighting those devils, man, because some of the things that I'm hearing is red flag laws and universal background checks and mandatory storage, So,
yeah.
As a matter of fact, if any of your listeners catch this broadcast before Sunday morning, 9:15 Eastern, I'll be on yet again a local TV show. I've been hitting a local TV show here in Detroit to do the pro-gun side of things. So
And that
every
is,
time they say something that's just flat out not true, I'm there to actually tell them what the laws actually mean, or what the verbiage in that proposed legislation that they're pushing, what does that mean? Like red flag laws. Oh, we're going to protect the public. No, you're talking about disenfranchising people of their due process and convicting them in silence if you don't kill them when you raid their home during the pre-dawn hours, and then force them to go out and hire a criminal defense attorney. I mean, it is the most outrageous, ridiculous concept ever. And it really sends a chill down my spine that there are some states who actually advocate for this tomfoolery. But you know what? To be part of an organization to push back against that stuff, man, and to witness all of the states who are now going constitutional carry, that's the direction we need to be going. But
yep.
yeah, I'm getting my blood pressure up. Go ahead, Amanda.
So you said this coming Sunday morning, so that will be February 19th, 2023, just in case somebody's watching this years down the road. Yeah, I tell you what, it's an amazing thing to be part of a group. I mean, I'm on the board of directors for Nebraska Firearms Owners Association, which is our state level group, and just the things that I get to be part of. And it's not that any of it's my doing. I kind of feel like I'm along for the ride, and sometimes I use this same program that we're on right now, broadcasting, to do broadcasts for them. That's kind of my contribution, and I make some Facebook posts. That's about it right now. But it's awesome to be part of it. I understand exactly where you're coming from there, Rick, and to be part of a group that does the same kind of thing in all 50 states. I mean, that's even just that much bigger. So Amanda, what would you tell me would be the compelling reason to give the NRA my dues this year?
Well, I tell folks that I'm going to give you the advice that I follow. So I'm going to tell you where I spend my dollars. Okay. And so I am a life member of the NRA, the Second Amendment Foundation, and then I'm a year-to-year member of my state organization. And I strongly suggest that people support in that direction, because the NRA, the heft and the strength that it has is the fact that it can say I have 6 million members. But really what it is the number of members has so much meaning to the elected officials in Congress and the Senate, at the national level. It really does, because every one of those looks like a vote. But to you and me, what that really means is you get a magazine, you get information, you get feedback to them. The NRA it's not about their millions of members. It is about the fact that they are the guy with the laser pointer and we're all the cats. And they monitor all of the lawsuits and all of the things and let us know where we should get involved, where we should spend our time, how we should be focused. And that when they slide something into a creepy little bill, that, I mean, I know that somewhere out west, there was a farm bill that then they put an anti-gun portion in. Yeah. They have a Safe First Community Act that they shoved in that we will bribe and pay every state to do red flag. The NRA tells us about that. So it's that kind of thing that the NRA will give you the heads up and give you the advice and give you some pre-warning so that you can get involved, so you can go and testify, so you can stop it from happening in your community. But if you're involved on a state level organization, you need to be involved with the NRA and SAF also. So there is that. The second thing is pay attention to, and the NRA and New York State Rifle and Pistol Association and all of the other organizations that were involved in the amicus briefs that went with it. Mm-hmm. Look at the changes that are going to come our way based on Bruin. Yeah. So we are on the precipice of a huge change in national firearms laws. And so right now, the anti-gun folks are, kind of like in an alligator death roll where they're grabbing something and thrashing around and making a lot of noise. but they really don't have a lot of standing. But we've got to stand strong. When you look at how many anti-gun bills that have been passed after 1791, and now the Supreme Court is going to use that as a litmus test for history, text, or tradition as to whether those laws should stand or not. Somebody's got to be involved in ferreting them out, finding people with standing, line up the lawsuits, and support those other organizations as they go to do it. Because I know that Firearms Policy Coalition is so darned active right now. Second Amendment Foundation is so darned active. Other organizations, GOA is so darned active, but the NRA is in the background on many of those, and it's frankly their pocketbook that is helping that happen. And so they all need to work as a team, and we shouldn't throw hate or throw shade on one organization over another. Everybody's got their wheelhouse, and right now they're doing amazing things with it. But we need the NRA to be that big shield in the front. And the NRA only has value if its numbers stay up.
Yeah.
So
no, there is a lot of how do I say this the right way? When somebody from the NRA does go and testify before Congress, there's a lot of weight to bringing all of those members with them. And that's really what's happening. You've got 6 million people testifying all at one time there. So that makes a difference. It's like that here in our state too, when NFOA's president gives a testimony on a bill on behalf of our members. I mean, we've got, we're pushing 30,000 people that support us right now. So across, not just our state, but across the country. And yeah, shameless plug, if you want to help Nebraska become number 26 on the list of constitutional carry states, please go to NFOA website. That's nebraskafirearms.org. And you can help us with a little bit of financial help. We don't solicit that from our members, and we don't even have dues. Our members get to be members, life members, for free. So we're not asking for everybody's money or expecting it when they become a member. But if you want to help support us and you live in a state that's already got constitutional carry and you want to help add to the list, Nebraska would love, and NFOA would love some help to get us across that finish line. It's coming along, but we can't let off the gas now. So
do you think you're going to be 26 or 27? Because Florida is racing toward that same. They were testifying in Tallahassee when I was there last week.
Yeah. I tell you what, ours is past the committee hearing. It's been voted out of committee, and it will be headed to in our state. I know we're different than the other 49, but it's got to face three different filibusters now to get through. So if nothing else, if you don't want to send money, please pray for Nebraska out there, all of you, because I'm a huge believer in that as well. So hopefully, Woods has a great comment out there, and this is very true as well. The NRA is our 2A battleship. It's large and powerful, and it's hard to change direction sometimes with something that big, but we need the NRA. If you shoot at a range, chances are the NRA gave money for that. And that's why I just said, the range that we're part of is the dues are cheaper if you're a member. And that's because along with how does this work? They explained it last year at the annual meeting. The NRA gives a discount, I think, on the insurance. And if you shoot at a range, it's probably insured through NRA as well. And so the range gets a discount on that insurance based on how many of their members are also NRA members. And so if you're not an NRA member, then you get to help pay for the difference that they pay on their range insurance. That's exactly what it comes down to. And it's almost the exact same amount of money. So, all right. And okay, my understanding is it's too late. If I join right now, it's too late to get a vote this year for you two, unless I become a life member, right? I would get voting privileges then. But after 5 years in good standing, I get a vote.
Correct.
Is that right? Okay. So in a couple of years, when your terms come back around, we want to keep you on the board if you want to stay there. So let's see. I had one other thing that I wanted to. Oh, yeah. Wood said no NRA, no public ranges, and that's pretty much true.
Yeah, I was just with Holly Sullivan, the president of CCDL, Connecticut Citizens Defense League, and the interesting thing is that they just had one of their public ranges shut down for no explanation, no reason, and it's that kind of thing. And when you look at a anti-gun state that's really pushing and struggling, losing one range has a huge impact to so many people. So there's going to be a fight, and the NRA's in that fight.
I tell you what, if the range that we're part of were to close down, we wouldn't probably be part of one because the cost would be prohibitive. There's a couple that are actually closer than the one we drive to, but I think a single membership is $300 or $350 a year. And I'm not saying it's not worth it. I'm saying that that's not something that we've budgeted for when we can join for about, what is it, $55, I think, a piece, or it's less if we're NRA members. I think it's $30 to renew if we're NRA members. So yeah,
the gun foodie Patrick Bootsy Collins is on.
Yeah, Patrick made it. Better late than never, dude. He missed most of the whole show. We've got a few people joining us out there now. So yeah, if you're just joining, I'm sorry. We're not going to rehash everything that we talked about. G23 had a question about, if you guys get elected to the board, what are you going to do to make it worth the time for the people that voted? I think this whole episode has covered that. So I'm not going to make you go back and answer the same question again. But G23, I would encourage you to go back and watch the rest of the show that had happened before you jumped in here. And maybe you were out there and you just hadn't commented yet. But yeah, and I don't think I see any other super pertinent questions. If I missed it, I'll give you last call to get those out there in the chat for questions. But otherwise, we're just going to wrap things up. We've been going for just about an hour. I know we got started a little bit late. But that's Amanda's. No, it's not Amanda's fault.
Yeah, it is.
It's one of those things where, when I've got nothing planned, I have no idea what we're going to talk about. And it's kind of a free for all night. Everything's great. But when I have actual people that have a message that they want to share with the whole world, that's when I have the gremlins. It's terrible, but that's how it works. Patrick is looking forward to having like-minded individuals like the two of you on the board of directors for NRA. So that is, yes, I think all of us that know you or know anything about you would agree with that sentiment. So Rick, we haven't met in person or interacted much, but I know a lot about what I've seen a lot about you in the last couple of years. And I like everything that I see. So keep up that good work, man. And Amanda,
hey,
we have
thank
met.
you. I appreciate you. Sentiment is likewise. And look, I am pleading with you to come to Detroit. Yes.
I will talk with my financial officer. The CFO has to make that decision. We will.
Wait. She can come, and we'll find something for her to do, even if she's not a firearms instructor.
That's just it. We're a team. If I go, she goes. That's just the way it is. That's why she's coming with me to GRPC. That's not even in question. So we just gotta make it happen. And I haven't figured out this whole get my viewers to throw money into a kitty to get us to Detroit. So if I don't know what the secret is, I think partly it's just pride. I don't want to. So make it on my own steam or I don't get there. So no, it's got nothing to do with wanting to go. Although, I mean, again, I don't know. Do y'all have like a bulletproof car that you can pick us up at the airport?
Man, you will have so much fun, and your heart will be filled with so much appreciation of a job well done.
Honestly,
one of the things that I love is to watch all the synergies of everyone after the event. You got individuals who are going on each other's shows after the event, and they're doing their own projects, and it's just great to watch all of that blossom and come forth. We've had, man, it's just an awesome experience.
Well, and it's, Charlie Cook says this all the time, that the first event that he went to, he wasn't really sure what to expect. And I don't even know what that event was, but, the people in our group kind of crossed paths all across the country at different stuff. And he said, the first one was cool, and it might have been GRPC. But then he went back the second year to whatever event he's talking about, and he's like, it's family reunion time. I mean, somebody walks in the door and everybody jumps up and hugs them and everything else. And, I kind of got a sense of that. I knew a lot of folks digitally, if not, I had never shaken their hand or hugged their neck before. But, a couple years ago when we went down to AmCon in Dallas, I mean, it was kind of the same thing where, got to meet a bunch of my friends in person for the first time, which only makes sense if you do stuff online. But that's exactly the way it was. And it was kind of a family reunion for some of us. And I met more members of the family down there that I didn't know before. So that was even better. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, Patrick says that Nebraska is closer to Detroit than Atlanta is. Dude, how about this? Why don't you swing by and pick us up and we're there? We'll just ride with you, Patrick. Not that far out of the way.
I like that he's giving you some gentle persuasion, right? That's right.
Yeah, that's how he rolls.
Look, we have all the people who are watching live. We have all the people who are going to watch it when you put it on replay on the internet.
Oh yeah.
I want each and every one of you to send John a note telling him to come to Detroit and to do his show from Detroit. Now I know Amanda, when she came, she did episodes, interviews with all the celebs who were there. You need to come out there too.
Dude, my financial advisor just told me that it's not that we don't need convincing. We just need the time and the money to go. So all those people that want to send me a note, put $10 in it, and we'll see how far we get. But otherwise,
do you have any tip jars on the website? You have a tip jar on the website?
YouTube has the super chat option, and then they keep 30% of it. So those super chats don't grow you got to get big money in them for them to grow very quick. And I don't have any big money super chatters typically that watch the show. And again, I have a hard time asking the people to part with their money. They're already giving me their time, and to ask them for their time and their money seems like double dipping. So we'll see what happens. All right, we're going to we'll just wrap this up. I'm going to give you both a chance to give any closing thoughts and then shameless plugs for all the other stuff besides running for NRA board. So again, Amanda, we'll let you lead this one off.
Okay. Well, the one thing I want to say about the NRA board is that Rick and I have such mutual respect for one another that even though we're both running, we both endorsed the other, so that the people who are voting for me know that I know, like, and respect Rick, and to add him to the votes. And so, though I will say that I'll be extremely sad if when we get in the lineup, if Rick beats me. But at the same time, I want him in the lineup with me. I want us to be on this board together. So there's just a little bit of Ohio, Michigan competition. I'd be fine if we were 1 and 2. Right. But however that goes.
Or even if you're 24 and 25, as long as you're 24 and he's 25.
Yeah, you got it. You're getting the gist. You're getting the gist. So the other stuff that I've got going on is tune into Eye on the Target Radio with Rob and Amanda. I am the only female host of a nationally syndicated Second Amendment radio show in the nation. So that's kind of unique. I just came off of training at the Ambassadors Academy. So any of you folks who are thinking about being Second Amendment advocates, that you're thinking about that you want to get more involved and you don't quite understand how all of it works together, how Instagram works with Facebook, how you do videos and cut and edit, and how do reels work versus stories versus, how do you do hostile communications or interviews or setting up your camera that's probably not a good example since your software wouldn't let my unit. I could talk, I just couldn't hear you. But But the Ambassadors Academy is taught once a year down here in Florida at the Western Orlando Firearms Training Academy. And it is an amazing facility. And that is some of the best training that I have ever seen. And for fun, they'll teach you how to do scenario shoots and low light stuff. And, so they put you in the perfect dark and do a shoot or no shoot kind of scenario. Do you shoot? Do you run? Do you scream? Do you fight? What do you do? And it really brings out the inner warrior in you. So there's that. I'm waiting for the final approval to host a concealed carry fashion show at NRA in Indianapolis, and that's coming up in the middle of April. And so come to the NRA annual meeting because it's an amazing place to be. So those are kind of the things that, and if you're of the female persuasion, join the DC Project, dcproject.info, and get involved there. That's an amazing organization that is doing really good work.
I'll put that one up here too, DC Project.
.info.
.info. All right, we'll put that up on YouTube and Facebook there too. So, all right, Amanda, again, thank you very much for joining us and for your tenacity, not letting that the audio issues just count you out. I'm glad that you decided that you weren't going to sit this one out.
She did not quit.
No,
as
there's
the
no
engineer she figured it out.
And I love seeing the progress of your hobbies on Facebook. I can tell just by looking at that there's no quit in you. So if you're friends with Amanda, you get it. If not, then you should be friends with Amanda. So all right, thank you very much for joining us tonight. Rick, we'll let you give any closing thoughts and any shameless plugs that you want to give.
Shameless plugs, man. Yes, I am shameless. Social media posts, generally speaking, my handle is Detroit CCW, and the placement O and the I are very important because if you misspell it, it looks like the riots, right? The city was founded in 1701. Villa de Troyes, which is City by the Strait. My socials, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, all Detroit CCW. But if you're looking for me on LinkedIn, it's Rick Ector. There's a couple of other Rick Ectors, but I'm the handsome one. In respect to what else am I doing? I'm a National Rifle Association training counselor. I actually train people to be National Rifle Association firearms instructors, and I'm also a chief range safety officer, so I train RSOs. When I train women by the thousands, I need a ton of instructors and a ton of range safety officers to make sure everyone is safe. If you're familiar with guns, you know what a squib load is. We've had more than our share of squib loads over the years, and we caught each and every one of them due to all the care that each individual instructor from all over the country gave to the process. And of course, depending on when you see this appearance, look me up on that Fox 2 debate. We're going to be debating gun control that's expected in the aftermath of that whack job, that bad man who killed a bunch of students up at Michigan State University. I want to thank you, John, for having me on and for inviting me. Yeah. And Amanda, it's always good to see you, and I know I'll see you again soon.
All right, and yeah, that's. I haven't even gotten into. I typically those when somebody does something like that, it doesn't usually make my show, just because there's either not enough info, or by the time there is enough info and stuff has come out, people have kind of beat it to death. So I typically don't cover stuff like that.
You know what?
That doesn't mean
before the stuff even comes out, the anti-gunners are making stuff up or theorizing what best pushes their agenda. You know, there's no wait until the facts come out. You know what? They will create the so-called facts.
Well, and I mean, you know, case in point, I don't know if they have released yet what kind of firearm was used up there, and maybe they have by now, but before the smoke had even
I believe it was 2 handguns.
The president was going back on about his assault weapons ban pet project again, and there was no, even if assault weapon was a real thing, there was no evidence that that's what was used. Although he's trying to now classify
It wasn't.
any semi-auto handgun as that. So I mean, I guess that's
Yeah, well,
Rahm Emanuel used to say, "Never let a good tragedy go to waste."
yeah, no kidding there.
Down here, there was a pictogram that came up that they said it was 2 pistols. So they had 2 pistols. Then he had 8 or 9 magazines. So they had all these magazines. And then he had an additional 50 bullets. And so he had 50 little bullets lined up in their pictogram. I was like, so it wouldn't be nearly as impressive if they said 1 box, right?
Right.
But yeah, so we were sitting here at dinner going, okay, look at that.
That's kind of like when you see the headline that they confiscated, 2 rifles and 500 rounds of ammo from this arsenal in somebody's house.
A cache of weapons. Yeah.
Yeah.
If they knew how many rounds of ammunition women shoot at my annual event, they probably would storm it with pitchforks.
No kidding. People are like, 500 rounds of
12,
ammo. I'm like,
1,300 women and multiply it by 20. We shoot a lot of ammo.
2 rifles and 500 rounds is just a fun day at the range.
Right.
I mean, hopefully you've got enough magazines that you don't have to keep reloading them. But anyway, all right.
Back to the Lansing shooter. As expected, he was known to police, and they were monitoring him.
Apparently not well enough. All right. So let's go to the list. If you got those questions in, I think there was one comment on Facebook, which was all I saw, and it was somebody that was just trying to throw some shade at me. So, Joe, I did see you out there. I just chose to ignore you. He's laughing at that. Don't worry. But on the YouTube side, we had Gun Websites, 10X Shooters, Jeff Moeller, Travis P11, Joe Jag, Worthwhile Fun made an appearance and was endorsing you as well, Amanda. I'm not sure who that is, but she knows you through DC Project. Vanessa Kitty was out there. Woods, Tim S, The Gun Foodie, G23. I know G23 is not on the list, but I know you're out there. She says, oops. But, and of course, Sandhill Sweetheart was out there as well. Thank you all for joining us tonight. Again, please, if you haven't liked the video, please do so. But the bigger thing is get that share button going, because YouTube, Facebook, they don't like me, and they shadow ban, they demonetize, they do everything they possibly can to keep from this getting out into circulation. So please hit that share button, share it with everybody. And at the very least, everybody that you know who is an NRA member and has been for long enough to have voting status, if they remember only 2 names to vote for, make sure they vote for Amanda Suffecool and for Rick Ector. And if you want to know why, you either haven't been paying attention or you just joined us. So go back and watch the rest of the episode and you will find out why that is. So with that, we're going to call it a night. On behalf of Amanda and Rick, Sandhill Sweetheart, and myself, we love you. God bless you. We'll see you next time. Don't forget, starting in March, we're going to move to Wednesdays, but we've got a couple more Thursday episodes. So have a great night, everybody. We love you, but you got to go home. Or, well, you don't have to go home, but you can't stay here. Get off my lawn.